When my wife, Claire, first said she wanted to host a small dinner for old friends, I didn't think much of it. We'd been married 8 years, and our social circle had thinned over time. So when she started laughing over text, smiling at her phone, and humming while cooking, I told myself it was nice to see her happy again. I didn't realize she was setting the stage for something that would rewrite the way I saw her. The night of the dinner, the house smelled of rosemary and grilled salmon. She looked beautiful, hair tied up loosely, wearing the navy dress I'd bought for her birthday 2 years ago. Our guests arrived, 2 couples we'd known for years, and one man I didn't recognize at first. He was tall, confident, carrying an easy smile that somehow felt rehearsed. Claire greeted him a little too warmly. "This is Adam," she said, almost too casually. "We used to know each other in college." Used to know. Those 3 words landed differently. During dinner, I tried to keep my mind from wandering, but as the wine flowed, so did her nostalgia. She laughed at his old jokes, touched his arm when she spoke, and smiled like I hadn't seen in months. Halfway through the evening, Adam complimented the meal. Claire's eyes sparkled. "Remember those nights at your apartment?" she said, chuckling. "You used to make pasta that could rival a restaurant." I set down my fork. I watched her face, soft, glowing, alive. For years, I'd begged for that version of her to come back. I just hadn't realized another man's presence was what brought it out. The table quieted when she suddenly said, "You know, Adam was a real man back then, confident, knew what he wanted. I regret leaving sometimes." Her words hung there, slicing through the clinking of silverware. Adam looked uncomfortable, muttering something about old times. The others tried to laugh it off, but the damage was already done. I didn't say a word. I just looked at her. My wife, the woman I'd built a life with, sitting there comparing me to her ex over dinner in our home. The rest of the evening blurred. I smiled when people said goodbye, shook hands, even thanked Adam for coming. But inside, something cold had settled in me. Claire cleared the dishes in silence, humming again, pretending nothing had happened. When she turned to me with a faint smile and said, "You're being quiet tonight," I simply nodded. "Yeah," I said. "I'm just thinking." Later, she climbed into bed beside me, scrolling through her phone, oblivious. I stared at the ceiling, every word she'd said echoing. He was a real man. I regret leaving. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I replayed every small moment of the last few months. How distant she'd been, how often she'd mentioned the good old days, how she laughed more with her phone than with me. Something inside me clicked, not in anger, but in clarity. The next morning, I made breakfast like usual. She seemed relieved that I wasn't bringing up the dinner. "You're not mad, are you?" she asked with a smirk that told me she thought she still had control of the story. "Mad?" I said softly. "No, I just realized something last night." She looked up from her coffee. "What's that?" "That I've spent years trying to prove I'm enough for someone who's still living in the past." Her smile faltered, but I didn't wait for her reply. I picked up my jacket, grabbed my car keys, and said, "I'll be back later." But I wasn't planning to come back. Not the way she expected. I drove without a destination, letting the morning sun wash over the empty road. The silence in the car felt cleaner than the noise I'd been living in. After a few miles, I stopped at a cafe near the lake. The same place Claire and I used to visit before we got married. It was where she once told me, "I don't need grand gestures, just honesty." Funny how people forget their own words when comfort blinds them. I ordered coffee and sat by the window, replaying her voice in my mind. That casual cruelty dressed as nostalgia. He was a real man. It wasn't just what she said. It was how she said it, like she'd been waiting years to let that truth out. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger would have meant I still wanted to fight for something. But what do you fight for when the other person has already turned the page? I took out my phone and scrolled through our old photos. Anniversaries, road trips, her smiling beside me in every frame. Somewhere along the way, those smiles had turned into polite poses, and I'd been too blind to notice. After a while, I typed a message. Not long, not bitter. Just final. Thanks for reminding me who you really miss. It made me realize who I no longer need to be. Then I turned off my phone and drove home. When I got there, Claire was in the kitchen, talking on the phone. She looked startled when I walked in, as if she didn't expect me back so soon. I didn't say a word. I went straight to our bedroom, opened the drawer where I kept the small velvet box, the necklace I'd planned to give her next week for our anniversary. I left it on the bed with a folded note. When she followed me in, her expression shifted from irritation to unease. What's going on, Mark? I looked at her calmly. You said Adam was a real man last night. She froze. Mark, I didn't mean it like that. I think you did, I interrupted quietly. And it's okay. You were honest. Finally, she crossed her arms. You're overreacting. It was just dinner talk. We were reminiscing. Reminiscing, I repeated, nodding. That's one word for it. Here's another, revealing. She frowned, unsure how to respond. So what now? You're leaving. I smiled faintly. No, Claire. You already did. I'm just catching up. Her lips parted, but no words came out. For the first time in years, I saw confusion on her face. Not guilt, not regret, just the shock of losing control. I picked up my bag and started walking toward the door. She followed me, voice shaking. Mark, please don't do this. I love you. I turned to her, meeting her eyes. You love the version of me that kept forgiving your disrespect. That man's gone. She took a step closer, tears welling. You're making a mistake. No, I said softly. I made one a long time ago when I thought loyalty could fix longing. Then I walked out. Outside, the air felt lighter. Not peaceful, but honest. I sat in the car for a moment, staring at the house that used to feel like home. My hands didn't tremble, my chest didn't ache. I felt still. I started the engine and drove back toward the cafe. Before leaving town, I stopped by a small flower shop. The clerk wrapped a single white rose. Simple, quiet, unassuming. I placed it on the cafe table where I'd sat earlier and left a note beside it. Thanks for last night's dinner, Claire. You helped me remember what self-respect tastes like. Then I walked away. Not with anger, not with regret, but with the kind of silence that comes when you finally stop chasing someone who doesn't see your worth. That night, as the city lights blurred in my rearview mirror, I realized she might tell everyone that I left out of pride, that I overreacted. Let her. The truth wasn't mine to prove anymore. Sometimes walking away isn't weakness. It's the loudest way to say, I deserved better, and I finally know it.